my god, I know this channel is for both gaming and pop culture. RabbitXp here is back. I wanted to do another quick, I don't know if I want to call this an autosave, but I want to get into it because it's been a while since I recorded a video. I should actually have another video going up pretty soon. It should be me and my son. We're going to be reacting to the new Avengers Doomsday trailer, which was sick. And I am so excited for that movie because it looks so good. But and I can't wait for December for me, my wife, and my son to go see it together as a family. But yeah, so much has been going on with me, and you know, it's been tough to record a video, especially with gaming news, not necessarily pop culture stuff, but mostly because it's just been layoffs after layoffs, studios closing, the whole disc debacle. Nothing's really changed on that front, you know, between Microsoft and Sony. But this is more of a positive thing. I want to do a different kind of video now because I want to get into the comic books. I recently been reading Infernal Hulk. I'm up to I think it's issue 7. I just got past the issue where he fought the X-Men, the Infernal Hulk. I had to actually watch. If you guys don't watch Comics Explained, it's probably one of the only comic book YouTube channels that I like, because Rob is extremely knowledgeable. So if you guys don't check him out, free plug from my little channel to his, go check out his channel, because I didn't know a lot of backstories. I only really read Spider-Man, Superman, meaning the Amazing Spider-Man action comics, and Superman I primarily read unless it's big crossover events. But I've been reading Infernal Hulk, and then, you know, just to see the Doomsday trailer come out got me super duper excited because it looked awesome. We finally got to see Doom, Dr. Doom. People don't understand Doom. You know him from the video games, you know him from the old Fantastic Four movies, but if you read the comics, you know how lethal Doom is and the things and the lengths he will go to for absolute power, right? Because he feels like things are only safe or can only be done appropriately, correctly, etc., unless it's done with his own hands. Like, everything needs to be controlled by him because he knows best. Big narcissistic ego coming out there. But you know, there are some good points. You know, I had just finished reading One World Under Doom also, which was also really good. But speaking of One World Under Doom, I saw the trailer. You're gonna see the reaction pretty soon with me and my son having checked it out. And I have a couple of theories I actually want to throw out from the trailer. So one, what I think I know what they're going to do with this movie, right? Of course, I could be wrong because I'm speaking from a lens of the comic books, and they could be doing something completely different. Because, you know, one thing that people tend to conflate is that comic books equal what the MCU is going to do, and that's not always the case. They will kind of do things their own way. They have been doing things their own way, you know, especially with the whole issues that were going on with Spider-Man rights and the film rights being owned under Sony, the issues going on with Marvel and the X-Men, Fantastic Four at the time, until they wound up buying out Fox. Disney bought Fox because, you know, they got that much money to get those rights back. But there's just a lot of different moving pieces, right? That the MCU has had to pivot in order to make their universe work and their structure work. It's one of the main reasons why you hadn't seen the X-Men, why they were constantly trying to replace them with the Inhumans for a long period of time until they finally got them back, because X-Men, Spider-Man have always been the two money makers. The Avengers was initially created, if anybody knows, because those were individual comics that weren't really selling, like Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, the Wasp, etc. Those comics were not selling on their own, so that's why those team-ups even happened in the first place. It's like the original Defenders, which is like one of the most OP teams ever. But I went off on a tangent. I want to talk about the trailer. So if you guys seen the trailer, you know, spoilers ahead before anybody keeps watching this video. If you've seen the trailer, you see the X-Men fighting from, you know, Foxverse, I like to call it. You see them, you see kind of like this supernova looking thing in the background, but I really think that's the Incursions. And then you kind of get a little bit about where the Avengers are at and how the Fantastic Four, if anybody's seen Thunderbolts, when the Fantastic Four ship was shown, and then you actually see the Fantastic Four movie where Doom does make an appearance at the end credits. Pardon me. There's been all these different little tidbits shown that kind of like my brain is almost connecting the dots. My wife hates to hear my theories because for some reason they come true a lot of the times. But here's where I'm at with it. I think Secret Wars in general is being made to wipe the slate clean. And what do I mean by that? There's been several rumors of Tom Holland Spider-Man not being in Doomsday, possibly in Secret Wars, but not in Doomsday, right? And one of my overall theories for Doomsday early on was that there's going to be this massive battle, which we know is going to happen with Doom when he obtains the powers of the Beyonders, right? Him and his Black Priest. If anybody read Avengers, New Avengers, that was written by Jonathan Hickman, you know that they were trying to prevent the incursions, the Illuminati, and there were these Black Priests that were going on. You wind up finding out that that was Doom, Molecule Man, and Strange, who was going around trying to prevent the incursions from happening. And then they found out the truth from Owen Reese, that Molecule Man was essentially a bomb. Not to get too much into the weeds, if you guys want to check that out, I don't want to spoil the actual comic for you, please read it. Or if you want me to get into the comic and break down the comic, Jonathan Hickman's entire run, going all the way back to Fantastic Four, let me know. But lo and behold, in Avengers Secret War 2015, everybody knows Doom gets the power, and you know, he creates Battle World with the remnants that's left over after, you know, the big Molecule Man bomb happens, and that winds up destroying and blowing up the Beyonders, and they absorb their powers. What I initially thought was going to happen is Tom Holland in the MCU has such a strong connection to Iron Man, to Tony. I thought that there would be a big battle where Holland would actually lead the Avengers into that fight. He get the upper hand on Doom, kinda. This is, of course, before he get the Beyonders power, and of course, Doom is no slouch. If anybody knows Doom, he's the second most powerful magician. Sometimes it could be argued he's the most powerful. Same thing with smartest man on Earth. He's somebody who mixes technology, engineering, physics, and magic all together in one to create the threat that is Doom. But, you know, with the help of all the Avengers, Spider-Man would get the upper hand. His mask would come off, and it would reveal the face of Victor. When it revealed the face of Victor, it would look just like, because it's RDJ, Tony. That would throw Spider-Man off. Spider-Man would get stabbed. It would kind of be like when Iron Man fought Thanos at Endgame, and Thanos, Iron Man got a cut on Thanos, and you did all that. I mean, made him bleed a little. I think it was by his lip. I can't remember. I gotta rewatch the movie, Infinity War. And Thanos made the comment, all that for a little drop of blood, and then he winds up stabbing him, and then they have that heart to heart. I thought that that would happen, like in that momentary lapse from him seeing the face, he'd get stabbed. And Tobey Maguire and Wolverine, Hugh Jackman would come in and save him, kind of like the last vestiges of the old heroes, right? And that would also lead into Secret Wars, where he gets the power of the Beyonders, right? That's one scenario, right? And that's what I thought before all the trailers had come out. Now, with the new trailers having come out and the new information being shown, you know, from the Captain America trailer, from the Thor trailer, from the Fantastic Four one, from the from the X-Men trailer, from the Fantastic Four movie, all these little tidbits to this new trailer. My new theory is that the incursions were happening as before, because everybody's seen Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. He made mention of that. They made mention of that, right? As he was going through the different multiverses with America Chavez, they made mention of the incursions. I think the incursions are actually happening. Doom is very much like when he was the Black Priest trying to solve the issue, right? And he took Franklin because Franklin's powers would allow him to move these incursions away from their universe and act, because Franklin is so astronomically powerful, right? It's very similar to when, if anybody's read the Onslaught saga, of when Onslaught took Franklin and Nathaniel Richards' Cable, of course, before he got inflicted with the techno-organic virus, and was using their powers to expand on his own awesome powers, and led to this big brawl. But that's what I think is happening. I think those maneuvers happen so that it can show not only the gravity it was happening, but people traveling to other worlds to try and stop these incursions. But I think now it's too late. Doom is in the middle of it. I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on, but Doom is trying to be at the center of it to get all the power. And what I think is going to happen here is, if anybody's been reading One World Under Doom, Doom is going to wind up winning at the end of Doomsday, right? That's why it's called Doomsday. It's very similar to Infinity War with Thanos. I think Doom is going to win. But who's going to be the key now is the little girl. And what do I mean by the little girl? Because it sounds wrong out of context. Tony's daughter. I think Tony's daughter might be key here. If, and this is of course a big assumption, if they're using this Doctor Doom as a, what is the word that they use? Variant of Tony. And what I mean by that is that he may, if anybody knows the history of Doom, they know how close he is with Valeria Richards. Who is Valeria Richards? Valeria Richards is the daughter of Susan Storm and Reed Richards. Probably the most smartest person on the planet outside of Reed and Victor himself. And her and Moon Girl could probably go back and forth tie. But there was a lot of complications with Valeria's birth. Dr. Doom assisted with the birth of Valeria, asked to name the baby as compensation, and became her godfather. He named her Valeria after the woman he loved, but he chose power instead of her. He loved Valeria so much. This is spoilers, by the way. If you haven't read One World Under Doom, it's a very recent comic. I want to say maybe 5-6 months ago. Go check it out. Valeria, when One World Under Doom was going on and Dr. Doom was the Sorcerer Supreme, he got in the middle of the fight between the Avengers, the X-Men, all of them trying to fight him. He unleashes his power. Valeria went there to try and stop Doom and calm him down because they were losing. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the X-Men were all losing. He unleashes his power but didn't realize Valeria was there, which killed her. He couldn't turn back time because of a device that he has that makes that one point in time a fixed point of time. So what he wound up doing was telling this beautiful story that I'm not going to get into because there's a lot of narration to explain. I'm already talking a lot. He tells this beautiful story about a mad king and a girl who basically thawed the mad king's heart, his ice cold heart, and how much he loved her, right? And he used those stories to keep her together. And he went to the Vishanti. He went to all manners of powerful beings. So he finally wound up to the Living Tribunal. And after speaking to the Living Tribunal, he tells the Living Tribunal like to look at him, to peer into him. Very similar to what Bass did when he took over Wakanda. He wanted the Wakandan vibranium. When Living Tribunal looked at him, he basically gave up himself to save Valeria. I think something similar might happen with Tony's daughter. If the directors, the Russo brothers, want to pull at people's heartstrings, you know, and it's been kind of thematic with children in the next generation, because if you look at Black Panther 2, right, with T'Challa's son, if you look at Fantastic Four, with there's this real theme of children, right, in the next generation. I think that what the Russo brothers will probably do is they'll utilize the fact that he's maybe a variant, and of course assuming he's a variant of Tony. They'll use that to say like he'll see the girl, accidentally hurt her, and then all these memories that Tony had will come flooding to him, and the love that he had, as if it's his own daughter, will come back to him. Because even think about Multiverse of Madness. It had to do with Wanda's kids that she created, right? That she would have a vision that she created with her reality. I want to say she can't control reality, but I guess reality warping kind of powers, right? That she made, right? Which was Wiccan and you know, the one that was like Quicksilver, I forgot. She made those kids and essentially what I think is he'll do that, and then those kids and then he'll give himself up to save her, right? To give her the life, the thing that Tony fought for. Because remember what Tony says at the end of Endgame: bring everything back, of course. Lose what we have, not an option, right? His daughter was everything to him, right? So I think that might be a biggie. The other theory I have is that we may get Doom will win, and we may get an On Your Left moment where RDJ comes back as Iron Man, right? And all you hear is like the Iron Man theme. And remember, because if anybody's read Secret Wars 2015, Doctor Strange was extremely pivotal in the hero success in the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, all the survivors, right, who survived in Reed's aircraft, and them putting a Black Panther, Namor, and them putting a stop to Doom, right? They were all pivotal in the success of that plan. I think that we could have a moment like that where Strange again, because Strange acted as like the right hand to Doom. When Doom got omnipotent, Strange got omniscient, became omniscient, while Molecule Man was like the battery for all that power, right? And then we get an Iron Man thing, and then Reed comes in and he fights Doom again with him at the end, and it's almost like a passing of the torch. That is something else that can happen. So those are my theories for what can potentially happen in Avengers Doomsday. What I do think for sure, right, is that in Marvel, right, anytime they're doing a hard reboot, it's very similar to DC. They always do secret wars, right, to do the hard reboot, right? If they do a soft, they do have soft reboot stories that they want to do, but if they're doing a full-scale hard reboot, it's always wars, right? Or secret wars. Like you had Secret Wars from the original one, and then you had Secret Wars 2, and then you have Secret Wars 2015. The only reason I say original one because I can't remember if it was 1960 or 1970. But you have like these secret wars that happen, and they do a hardline reboot where they get rid of the old, save whatever was selling, and bring in the new, right? I think that that's happening. For DC, they have the Crisis events. You got Crisis on Infinite Earths. You got Infinite Crisis. You got Final Crisis. Any Crisis event usually leads to wholesale reboots, right? I think that with this, they're going to basically sunset and say, because we already know Patrick Stewart has said that he's retiring from acting. This is his last movie, right? So I think they're sunsetting all those old characters people know and love. I don't think Toby's making it out of this. I don't think Hugh Jackman makes it out of this. I don't think any of the old X-Men make it out of this. I don't think any of the old Spider-Man characters. I don't think any of the old stuff that was there, they're not making it out of this. I think that going forward after this is going to be a full hardline reboot into all brand new or whatever is selling existing characters, right? So you probably get the Tom Holland Spider-Man back. You'll probably get the Fantastic Four because they were just introduced. You're gonna get all these new full sales, and the popular ones that people love from the MCU are gonna come back. Like I heard that I heard on Twitter, I read on Twitter, and take this with a grain of salt, is that Iron Wars is being rebranded from a War Machine story to be they're going to recast Iron Man, right? Because Iron Man is, and whoever fills those shoes is going to be big, right? Because people love him in the MCU, the MCU fans. They're going to recast Steve Rogers. You're going to get all these Avengers that people know and love to come back into these stories. So I think that's the direction they're going. Now, one thing I do want to speak about is at the end of the trailer, you saw Cap take the hammer. And I'm going to leave it on this. People are assuming that that is Cap, right? That's Steve Rogers. I do not think that's Steve Rogers. So, Nick Spencer wrote a story that I consider to be the true Civil War II, right? And it was called Secret Empire. And in that story, there was a Cap that took the hammer of Thor. He set everyone up. It was Hydra Cap. And you know why? Because the hammer doesn't say he who is good is worthy to wield the hammer of Thor. It says he who is worthy can wield the hammer of Thor. So take that with a grain of salt. Love, peace, chicken grease. Bye-bye.
Like and subscribe!